The Insta360 Mic Pro is a wireless mic for starters, and when used in that mode, typically you'd have it attached to yourself in a sort of vertical position. But it's also a quite sophisticated audio recorder with abilities which outclass many other devices of that kind. And when I say devices of that kind, I mean things like this little recorder and others like it. The Mic Pro can record internally in 32-bit float stereo, and it can record in mono with various polar patterns selectable. Now, this is all quite well known, but what I'm doing today is to demonstrate the different qualities that you can obtain from this device when it's used as an audio recorder horizontally. And I've got it mounted here on top of a short pole, and that's what you're hearing now. Currently I've got it set to stereo, and I'm recording in the lounge of my little apartment, and it's not any kind of treated space, and you should be able to hear the reverberation of the room and possibly even some distant traffic noise because it's a suburban environment. Now, what I'm going to do is to switch it over to mono in a moment. In stereo, obviously it does the usual thing that you can hear my voice move from side to side and so on and so forth. And I've already uploaded quite a few videos to YouTube showing the kind of thing that can be done with that, recording natural environments, musical performances, all sorts of things. But if you want to use it at home as a voiceover mic, it can do that too. Not connected wirelessly to anything, just recording internally. And to get the full range of options, you have to turn it to mono. And that's what I'm going to do now. Okay, now we're set to mono, except it's slightly confusing because it's actually still recording internally in stereo. But the audio image in terms of spatial pickup is basically mono. So why am I saying it's stereo when it's mono? Well, I discovered last night when I was testing this that when it's set to mono, and if you display the waveform on your PC, the stereo display shows it reverting to stereo, particularly when I stop talking. And therefore, it's not as simple as it seems. Now, I'm using the phone now to control the mic, and I've currently got it set to omnidirectional polar pickup. This means that it's picking up sound equally all around the mic using the three mics that are fitted to it. Now, you should be able to hear a fair bit of reverberation from the room around me. Now, I'm now going to use the phone to select a different pickup pattern. I go to More Settings, and it says Sound Direction, and I'm going to switch on the fly to cardioid. You can actually buy proper microphones, in inverted commas, proper microphones which do have the ability to record different polar patterns, but they're pretty expensive and they're big. So being able to have a device which can record internally and which can record different polar patterns is quite extraordinary. It's revolutionary as far as I'm concerned. Now, you should now be able to hear a bit less of the room around me because it's now in cardioid mode, where it emphasizes the sound coming from the front, and the sound coming from the sides and the back are somewhat reduced. And it's doing that by clever internal processing, because as far as I can see, the three mics fitted, which are MEMS type mics, look up MEMS on the internet, Those MEMS type mics are probably, almost certainly, omnidirectional, and yet somehow it's using them to create a directional effect where it's picking up the sound of my voice much more clearly at the front than from the sides. And in the context of what we're talking about today, voiceovers in your home studio, it's not so important that if I move my head to one side, it's going to hear rather less of me than if I'm sitting right in the front. What's important is the pickup from the room, the reverberation, which on the whole you don't want. So anyway, so that's cardioid. Now I'm going to switch to the voice focus setting. Now this is kind of controversial. Voice focus on this device in theory is like having a shotgun mic, except it only works with the sound of a voice. So you can probably hear a fair bit of reverberation still being picked up, because although it's focused on my voice, if I was somebody else in the room, if I was in a room full of people talking, some sort of exhibition or football crowd, I don't know, anything, if those voices were also happening all around the mic, it would focus on my voice and not on their voice, but the general background sound, like traffic passing, waterfalls, anything, would still be being picked up all around the mic. So it's not really a proper shotgun mic. It's a kind of trick to make your voice stand out from other voices around you. And I'll just tip around the side now, and you may hear that my voice is now less distinct. Same around here. I can't go around the back, but anyway, so that's voice focus setting. And as I say, I would have expected that to have not picked up room acoustic, but it does, because it is only related to my actual direct voice, nothing else. Now, if I finally set it to figure 8, in this mode, it picks up sound from the front and it picks up sound from the back and less sound from either side. And this is probably intended for doing interviews where you could put the mic between the two people and it will pick up the voice of the interviewer, me, or it will pick up the sound of the interviewee over the back. However, what I noticed, and I can't fully explain, is that in this mode, the mic actually picks up a lot less room reverb. And if I was going to be using this for voiceovers in my highly reverberant studio here, then probably I would use that figure of 8 setting. Cardioid is perhaps what you might expect to use, or even the voice focus, but in terms of cutting out noise in the room, reverberation in the room, figure of 8 seems to be the way to go. The other thing I think I'll quickly show is how noise reduction can be used in this situation, recording at home. And what I will do in a moment is to turn the air conditioning back on, because it's kind of cold here in Australia. And the noise of the air conditioner will be competing with the sound of my voice. So let's see what noise reduction does in this context. Okay, I've now turned on the air conditioner, and there you go, it's starting up. I'm using the figure of 8 setting still, because that seems generally to work best for voiceover purposes. And the air conditioner is kind of behind the mic, so it's in the area where the Mic Pro should be picking up the sound of the air conditioner quite well. And now I'm going to, using the phone, just tap on the symbol that turns on noise reduction, and let's see what happens. Okay, weak noise reduction is now enabled, and using this there should be a reduction in the noise from the air conditioner, which is still in a kind of starting up phase up there. So in a moment I think the noise will increase, but there we go, now it's starting up fully. So you should be able to hear my voice fairly clearly, but with not so much noise as you would hear if I turned off the noise reduction. So now I've turned noise reduction to strong. The pickup is still set to figure of 8. The air conditioner is blowing behind me, so there should be a certain amount of noise happening in the room, but hopefully it's not being picked up by the mic. I will only be able to tell when I go into the post-production phase. Okay, and now just to finish this part of the demonstration, I will turn off noise reduction. Noise reduction is now disabled, and so you should hear the thunder of the air conditioner across the room there behind the mic. I think this mic, which you can buy in the US for $99 without, you don't need the receiver or any of that stuff, just buy the mic on its own, the transmitter on its own for $99, and you've got a fantastic recording device which can record very high quality stereo with a wide spatial image, and you can also record kind of mono with omnidirectional, cardioid, sort of hypercardioid shotgun type audio, and I think most useful figure of 8 audio. No other device can do that, not in 32-bit float, and certainly not in a package this small. See, hardly there at all. Thanks for watching.